LawCompany gives law firms access to immediate, reliable legal support right at their fingertips whenever they need it.
We make it really easy. We accommodate our clients where they are.
What are some of the biggest benefits that law firms will see from turning over tasks to the LawCompany team?
Easing stress. That is worth its weight in gold.
I talk to a lot of firms that have this mindset of like doing it all yourself.
When it comes to your own law firm, I don't think it's a DIY gig.
Everything except the law will begin after a brief word from Answering Legal. Visit answeringlegal.com to learn more about our virtual receptionist team.
So I do residential real estate, primarily landlord-tenant. My area of practice is high volume. It's a lot of clients and it's a lot of calls that I get. Before Answering Legal, I would have to take every single call or know that it was going to a voicemail and likely to another attorney. So it has been crucial for me to have Answering Legal and to have a live person answering the call and being the first line of contact for a prospective client.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Answering Legal's Everything Except the Law podcast. I am your host, Nick Werker. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the podcast where we share expert advice on all the parts of running a law firm that attorneys weren't exactly trained for back in law school. Now, today on the show, we'll be exploring the world of on-demand legal services. In particular, we'll be spotlighting the services provided by LawCompany. LawCompany gives law firms access to immediate, reliable legal support right at their fingertips whenever they need it. And our special guest for this conversation is Patrice Asimakis, the Director of Legal Services at LawCompany. Patrice, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being early and on time and just punctual as you can possibly be.
Thank you, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to see you again.
Great to see you. So can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and a little bit about LawCompany?
Sure, I'd love to. So LawCompany was founded in 2004 by some childhood friends who are a lawyer and an engineer. And they put their heads together and thought there's got to be a better way of doing this. So they developed this company for outsourcing of legal services, and it's grown immensely in the last close to 20 years. And today we have two sister companies, one that caters to corporate legal departments and the other, LawCompany, which serves small to medium law firms. And we have clients all over the country and even a few international. I am a Michigan lawyer. I graduated from law school in 1990. My early career was spent clerking for a federal judge. And after that, I went into big law. And I was in big law for a while in both litigation and transactional law. And now I am happy to say that I've been with Legalese for 6 years and I love my job and I love my clients. All my clients are lawyers. So I spend every day helping them be better.
I have a very similar experience to that. My friends started this company 10 years ago. And so I'm dating myself now that I've been here for 10 years. But I get to work with and like create content for attorneys. So like one of the great things that I get to do is we've been doing customer testimonials for video customer testimonials. Wow, I am rambling. But what's really cool is I get to learn a lot about a specific attorney's firm and how it works and how we're able to help them. So in your role, I'm sure like you actually provide the actual services that they need in order to really succeed. So later in this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into the services that LawCompany provides. But I first want to talk a little bit about the way that law firms operate. So I talk to a lot of firms that have this mindset of like doing it all yourself. Like I have to do my own website. I have to do my own marketing. I have to do my own lawyering, you know? How harmful can that approach and unwillingness to delegate be for growing law practices?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. My husband and I do a lot of our own home improvements. So it's not that I don't believe in the do-it-yourself mindset. However, when it comes to your own law firm, I don't think it's a DIY gig. And I'll tell you why. First, maybe we should talk about what a growing firm is probably doing. I need to make a couple assumptions here, but I think they're safe. Probably the principal or principals are doing a lot of business development. They are probably also managing the ebbs and flows of workload because, as we know, there are times when everything's busy, times when it's not. I used to have a colleague back in the old days who said, make hay while the sun shines. And, we understand that there are going to be ebbs and flows. So if you're a principal or principals of a growing firm, you're probably managing the workload. You also may be making hiring decisions. Even if you have an HR department, it's possible that you're being pulled into those HR decisions. You are probably managing non-lawyer tasks. You might be figuring out your physical space. So I have been working remotely since 2018, well in advance of, when COVID changed the whole work from home landscape. But we also do have some physical space where our colleagues join together. So maybe you're figuring out, what does our physical space look like? Do we need a dedicated space? Am I leasing space permanently? Am I doing shared space? Maybe you're doing that. If, as I suspect a lot of principals are, if you are doing any or all of those things, you're probably leaving money on the table. So you ask, your question is, what's the harm? Well, the harm could be that maybe you're not devoting enough time to business development. You got to make the rain. During the ebbs and flows, are you either scrambling to get the work done or desperate and panicking because there's not enough work there? I mean, that sort of goes hand in hand with BD, right? Do you need to re-examine your workforce? Do you need to expand it differently? Maybe. Maybe you don't need to expand it all. Maybe you just need to change it up. Do you need to take on a full-time lawyer? Part-time? Do you need a specialist? Those are all things that you need to consider. And if you're doing that yourself, that's a lot. Can you downsize your physical space? Can you work on a shared space? Can you re-examine your overhead? All of these questions and answers lead me to the concept of delegation. So how can you be harming your practice? In those ways. You need to learn what to delegate, when, and to whom.
Every time that I ever talk about delegation, there's always the, I can't delegate this because, or I'm holding on to this because. And there's like an old adage. I love this thing. It's a guy who's drowning in the ocean and he has a rock. He's holding a big rock and a boat comes to save him. And the boat says, drop the rock. And he says, no, I can't. This is my rock, and that's what we do when we're not delegating things, is we're holding on to the rock. This is my rock. But really, like, the help is right there for us. So I think a lot of what it is a mindset switch. So what are some of the biggest mindset adjustments those running small to mid-sized firms need to make in order to, delegate effectively and see their practice really be successful in the coming months and 2025?
Well, that's a loaded question. Yeah. To me, what you're talking about is sort of change management. And there are a lot of experts out there. A lot has been written and presented on change management, and it's probably 2 or 3 day conversation how to approach change. I'll leave that to the experts, but the mindset as I see it, what really needs to happen from those principles are a couple things. You should be only doing high level work. You should be not doing low value tasks. You should be thinking about strategy and advocacy. And then I'll take it back to business development. You need to be building or maintaining those client relationships. So if we get down to brass tacks and talk about how a principal or principals can keep doing those things, what mindset has to change? A couple areas. These are the trends I'm seeing. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI, talk a little bit about billing structure. We're going to always go back to marketing and client development, and then money, the almighty penny. So I would say when it comes to AI and, the words artificial intelligence and machine learning, they're still buzzwords. They've been around for a long time, but they're still buzzing. I think most people would agree that legal is a little late. Other industries came to that AI game much sooner. Of course, the tech industry, medical, accountants, engineering, and lawyers are a little late to the game, but now it's just blown up. So AI. I read an article that 70% of clients expect or prefer their clients to work with AI. That's a really high number. So if your clients are expecting it, what are you doing manually that could be automated? And it doesn't have to be anything too intense or too scary if you're just starting out with AI, as I know a lot of people are. And if you're a seasoned veteran and you're already there, you already have that mindset, that's okay. This is still something that you should continue to think about. But for anyone out there who maybe is just taking that leap or making that mindset adjustment, there are so many tools available. I mean, it is really overwhelming. And we sometimes consult with clients just to find, what do I really need? Because there are a lot out there. But I just read this week about NetDocs. And I don't use NetDocs. I'm not promoting NetDocs, but I know a lot of people who use it. It was, even before OneDrive in the cloud, NetDocuments was out there. And they have built into their platform, as a lot of companies have, some AI that will enhance their workflows. So you can start out with something really easy like document assembly. You don't have to automatically jump to there are more robust tasks that can be automated. So if you want to talk about something like, deposition prep, due diligence, contract drafting, sure, you can jump into, definitely more advanced or robust tasks. But if you're just starting out, something easy like document assembly, document automation is a good place to start. And let me also add that, back when I was in law school in the 80s, and a lot of old timers like me, we learned Boolean search terms. Statute within 5, limitation in the same paragraph as, summary in the same sentence as, judgment. We had to learn that Boolean language. Natural language processing, NLP, is everywhere. So you can have conversations with these platforms that is natural and conversational. And you can ask these platforms, find this information for me, create these summary, draft these responses, make these revisions. So the mindset needs to be towards AI. But again, nothing too deep or too scary, just the basics. And even GPT. I mean, GPT's been around for a long time, right? We know that it can get you into trouble. We've seen what happened to our colleague in New York who didn't read the brief. The paid version of GPT is excellent. Just remember, if you're using that AI, you got to own it. But that's something you can do to shift your mindset with respect to AI. Billing structure. I've seen this trend happening over the years, and it's not letting down. I'm not sure if it's going up, but it's at least holding steady. So we bill by the hour. We have hourly rates. We understand that. That's what we were taught. That's what we do. Lawyers are hourly folks. A lot of lawyers are rethinking their billing structure toward a flat fee model. It's more predictable. It's more transparent. And it's a lot less arguing about the bills with your clients at the end of the month. That this person spent this time, or the guidelines don't approve that. You're spending time revising your bills. So moving toward a flat fee arrangement, I think, is a trend that we're going to see continue. How do you do that? How do you change your mindset to do that? Well, you need to adopt the right tools. And some of the tools that you are already using can probably streamline your workflow to make that flat fee billing more realistic for you. It may be as simple as figuring out how much time have we spent on a typical one issue motion for X? How much time have we spent on your run-of-the-mill buy-sell agreement? I mean, if you can sort of quantify that and do some internal cost analysis, you can probably come up with those flat fees right away. Okay, I'm going to move to marketing and client engagement because it's something I'm probably going to keep coming back to. It's really important. This is something that I've heard a lot, and it's kind of shocking because we as lawyers try so hard to do a good job for our clients to get a good outcome. We want to win the case, win the motion, get the best price in the deal, whatever it is. We're going to be lawyers and go out there as warriors and get a good outcome for our client. But clients are reporting that it's really frustrating that they can't get in touch with a lawyer or their lawyer. And that's just basic stuff. I mean, we're not talking about being top of your class at Yale and, being brilliant. We're just talking about a client has to reach you. What happens when your clients can't reach you? They have a negative client experience. You're not getting the referral that you might otherwise get. So you're losing out. You lose the client, you lose those referrals. And this can really negatively affect the overall client experience. So boost your client experience, boost your client communication with the portal. It's simple. I had a medical test last week. I was curious. I went into my account, normal, done. I don't have to call the office. I don't have to get the PA. I don't have to get the doctor. I just log in. There it is. So if you can communicate easy with your client, that's really going to help you. And then they can do the marketing for you because they're going to refer because they had a good experience. Last, look at where your money's being spent. We talked a lot about tech. We talked a lot about marketing. Those are two areas. When you look at the end of the month, when you look at that balance sheet, you should see the out, that's where your money should be going out as on tech, the right tech, and some form of marketing. So those are the mindsets that I think need to shift.
I want to ask you this because we were talking about time killers. What in your mind, what are some of the biggest time killing tasks that lawyers should be looking to delegate at all costs?
Any lower value or routine task, absolutely you should be finding a way to delegate or outsource. An easy answer for most of our clients is legal research. Of course, it's personal, it's firm dependent. It depends on what kind of work you're doing. But if you're a principal of a law firm, you shouldn't be doing your own legal research. I mean, that just goes without saying. I mean, that's okay. So we all know that law students are learning legal research and writing in the first semester. If a first semester, and I'm not saying that they're excellent because as you grow as a lawyer, of course, you hone your skills and get better and better over time, of course. But doing legal research is something that a first-year law student can do at the end of 4 months. If that person can do it, you should be delegating it. Now, what you do with the case is that goes towards strategy. And that's what I said earlier. You should be saving your time for higher value cases. But legal research is something that's easy. If you look at your day-to-day tasks and you really separate the wheat from the chaff and you say, okay, these are things that I need to have my hands on this. But I don't need to find the cases. So legal research and writing, I think it's something that's easy. As a principal, you shouldn't be doing any of your own admin. I mean, that should go without saying. Summarization, any kind of summarization, gathering information, again, that you shouldn't be doing that. Even we talked about document automation earlier. The first draft of any transactional document, that can be delegated or automated. And you as an owner, principal, or somebody at the higher level, you should be saving your time for those higher value tasks to review that first draft, to review the research that's been given to you. So those are the easy go-tos.
On that same note, how will a law firm know if they need the services of LawCompany or any company like LawCompany? What types of law firms do you work with, and what types of problems are your customers typically looking to solve?
We work with such a variety. I couldn't even list them here. I mean, any kind of law firm, and size is typically smaller. Our sister company does work with bigger law firms, but LawCompany, we stick to smaller because they're the folks who usually need our services. But to really answer the question, like, how do you know if you need to do it, to outsource? I think unless you're happy with the amount of time you're spending on BD, unless you're not struggling with ebbs and flows, unless you're happy with your profitability and on and on and on, you probably need to start thinking about it. Most of our clients are small to medium firms who are looking for ways to increase profits and streamline their productivity. A simple example that I've given before that can show how you can really reduce your costs. So I'm do a little math. Let's say that you have a project that you estimate is going to be about 10 hours and you quoted the client $2,500. And I know most things are hourly, but I want you to move to a point of view. So I want you to $2,500. So let's take a paralegal or paraprofessional and let's give them a rate of $70. An example. And let's take a lawyer in a law firm. It depends on where you are. I'm trying to market. I know, but just for a simple example, let's take a lawyer who's $300. So now you have $2,500 to work with in 2 years. So your paraprofessional, your paralegal, maybe it's first year associate, is going to do your first draft of whatever it is. And let's say that person spends 8 hours to spend $600. So now you've eaten into $600 of your $2,500. Now you move it up the chain, you give it to the senior person who's going to do the final review, and that person, let's say, spends 2 hours. So at $300 an hour, that's $600. So now you have into it $1,200 into this. You still have a nice profit of $1,300 because you quoted 2,500. That's fine. So I'm shaking it for a minute. Instead of having that paraprofessional or first year spend those 8 hours, so let's break up that time a little bit. Let's give it to an outsourced company, a legal service provider who can give rates as low as $20 an hour. Or maybe you just get it on a flat fee. It's even less. Let's just stay with that one. $20 an hour. So now you've got $200 in so far. That draft goes to your entry level, the para or the first year. And that person, instead of spending 8 hours, only has to spend 4 hours. That's $75 an hour. Now you've only got $300. So you've got $200 plus $300. So right now you only have $500. By the time it gets to your final reviewer, your lawyer, she only has to spend $300. So now, instead of having the original $1,200 in, now you have $200 for your outsource, $300 plus $300, that's $800. Now your profit's $1,700. So you've taken your profit from $1,300 to $1,700 just by outsourcing that first layer. So when you ask, who needs us? Anybody who wants to do that. I'll also say that some of our clients do come to us because they want to expand their area of expertise. Maybe they're just not that sure about employment law, and they need an expert. They want to get a bunch of research done. We can do any kind of research. Anything that can be done, we can do. I mentioned earlier, some folks have technology challenges. They know that they want to introduce something, but they're just not sure what, and they need some consultation. So we have clients who come to that for us. So really, our clients are any law firm that wants to increase profitability and streamline their tasks.
So can you take us through the process of utilizing your support solution, your legal support solutions?
There's nothing to it, Nick. Nothing to it. You can go to lawcompany.com. You can, if you're already an existing client, you can log into the portal. You can have instructions that way, email, phone calls. We have one client who used to always send us every Saturday night. It was like 11:25, and ping, ping, ping. All of her assignments would come through, and I used to imagine that she was finishing watching the news, getting ready for Saturday Night Live, thinking, okay, I got to get ready for the week. And she would send us a bunch of emails. We have somebody who likes to do voice memos. So he dictates the voice memo and shares that with us. So really, it's really easy. It can be a phone call. It can be an email. Or it can be logged into the portal. It can be call. We make it really easy. We accommodate our clients where they are.
I love that because I'm also very strange in the way that I like to communicate, and I have outsourced things in the past. And when there's a regimented way that you have to submit, you're only gonna get the type of person who works in that way. So I like the fact that I would be able to dictate, because that's what I do. I talk to myself all day long. I type out loud. I talk to myself. So I'm totally on board with that. But I'm curious, besides the profitability that we talked about before, what are some of the biggest benefits that law firms will see from turning over tasks to the LawCompany team?
Well, okay, sure. There's the obvious thing that, if you get some time back, even if it's a small amount of time, you can spend it with your family, go on a little vacation, devote to business development, if that's what you want to do. We already talked about profits. We already went through that math. Easing stress. For me, that is worth its weight in gold. If you are so stressed out, and now all of a sudden you have this back office, and you can just go do that. That is a stress reliever. But, we already talked about learning what type to employ, streamlining your process, increasing your profits, and just getting some time back.
So what is your message for the attorneys out there who might feel a little uneasy about turning over their important legal tasks to an outside service?
Well, first of all, I understand. I think lawyers by nature, that's where we are. I'm one, I am married to one. So I understand that mindset. I do. But give it a try. Whether it's LawCompany or someone else, just give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, hey, it doesn't work out. You tried. We have trial plans. I'm always happy to jump on a call to discuss further. I'm easy to reach. You have my direct dial, you have my email. So my message is try. What have you got to lose?
I would go further and say, try it. You don't have to even use it. So if you hate it, you don't have to use it, and you paid, or you got a trial version of it and it was cheaper and you just learned a lesson. But if our listeners want to explore LawCompany further, how can they do so?
Lawcompany.com, or again, email me, call me. I'm always happy to chat.
Awesome. Well, Patrice, I would like to thank you for joining me on the show today. And thank you to all of our listeners. We hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we will be back with another episode of Everything Except the Law soon. Be sure to check out previous episodes of our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the Answering Legal YouTube channel. Links to everything covered in today's conversation can be found in the description of this episode, including Patrice's contact information. We hope to see you next time, everyone.